Hey guys, it's Dylan with CT Aquatics, and today we're going to go over the frag tanks. So a frag tank is a holding tank for coral fragments. So coral grow on a frag plug such as this one, and then the frag plug can just kind of drop into the frag rack and it will just hold itself in place, and then the coral can grow in that spot. So in the tanks, we have these gyre pumps on the bottom to create flow, and we have it going under the frag racks so that the corals aren't getting direct flow. A lot of corals don't like the direct flow because it will kill them, but some corals such as Acropora do like high flow, and you could put them more closely in front of a power head. So today we're going to be painting the frag tanks, and we paint the frag tanks the bottom and the back. One, to make them look a little bit nicer, but also two, it helps to control some of the lighting parameters in the tank because the light won't reflect as easily.
So I can see that they put the tank in upside down. There's a nice scratch on it, but it's not too far into the glass, so it's not really a worry. I do have to paint this tank, both the bottom and the back of it. So I'll do all the painting at the same time when I go to plumb it. I like to do my last coat on the back where the plumbing goes once it's drilled so that it seals better. When you paint the back of the tank and then install the bulkheads, it creates a seal, basically making another gasket, and prevents the tank from leaking. Let's get this tank out of the box. There's not a lot of space to work in. Have to be very careful putting the tank down so I don't break it. Alright, so I pulled the tank out of the box and noticed that this top corner is broken on the brace. The glass is still okay. I don't see any cracks or chips or anything in the glass, but there's another crack. If I can get it to focus, you might be able to see it right in the middle of the screen. There's a crack on this corner as well. And then coming down here onto the ground, it looks like this corner's got a little bit of damage too. I just very carefully pulled this out of the box. I have everything on video. I didn't damage this bringing it in. So I'm not sure if this will be an issue. I don't think those cracks are super critical. I don't think this tank is gonna like burst at the seams, but I do wanna get some silicone and probably fix that just because I don't know if you can see, the silicone is peeling up a little bit right there, and this is like completely broken. So I'll probably stick that back down with some more silicone. I don't think, like I just said, I don't think this is gonna burst open and break because the top brace isn't in perfect condition. These tanks aren't very big. It's got a lot of surface area for the amount of gallons, so should be okay. So I'm gonna move forward and drill this tank. I'm gonna probably put this at the back corner where I can still get to it, which will be perfect because that actually will work out really nicely. So let me just get this sticker off, and I'm gonna move forward with the drilling, and this will be the back of the tank. I'm gonna check the front corners now just to double check, but I think this is the worst corner right there. So I checked out all the corners on this, and I spoke to the owner of the fish store where I purchased it, and there shouldn't be any issue. The corners are going to be the strongest part to begin with, so where it's broken isn't going to hurt the tank. It's not going to bow out, and the tank will be totally fine. The broken corner, I'm also going to point it towards the back so we won't see it once it's on the stand. Cut the support bands off.
So the purpose for painting the bottoms of the tanks is because these are being used as frag tanks, so we will not be putting any sand in the bottom of these, so we need something to keep a solid color so the light does not shine through. It'll also make the tanks look a lot better. So to do this, we have our two 50-gallon glass tanks. The paint that we're going to be using is this Rust-Oleum protective enamel in gloss black. So this is really good because it will stick to the glass and it shouldn't create any issues for the tank as long as it's dry. For the roller, we're going to be using this 6-inch wide by 1/2-inch roller. So this one has a nice fine pad on it, so it should be good for keeping a nice finish on the glass. We're going to do a few coats of this paint, probably 2 or 3. You just need to pour a little bit out at a time. I'm just going to pour a little bit into my tray. You might not be able to see it because it's black and it matches. There's just a little bit of black paint. We're going to take our roller, start getting the paint filled into the roller. Once the roller is nicely full of paint and it has absorbed, we can start applying it to the bottom of the tanks. We're going to start by applying it thin, and we're going to do multiple coats in order to get a nice even coverage over everything.
Alright guys, so here's the first coat done. So as you can see, it's still kind of see-through. It's kind of speckled, there's some patches in it. But again, this is just the first coat. We're going to be adding some more coats on top of this in order to make it completely solid black. So today's day 2. I let the first coat of the paint on the tank dry overnight. And now today, first thing, I'm going to be doing my second coat. So let me start by showing you how the tanks look. So this is how the first coat dried. So you can see it's a nice shiny black, but there are some separation points throughout. So you can we'll still get some light through in some spots like that. That's why we're going to do the second coat. So this one over here has a little bit more separation on this side. But again, this will be entirely covered by the time we're done with the second or third coat. I'm hoping to do it all in 2 coats, but we'll inspect it at the end of the day and see if I need a third coat or not. So here's our second coat done. Because of the roller type that we use, we're getting a little bit of eggshell pattern on the bottom. This shouldn't be an issue. It'll be smooth on the other side once we flip them over. It'll also spread out a little bit more as it dries. Okay, so I have flipped both the tanks up on their ends, just so I could look through them and see if there's any light shining through. Now, as you can probably see on this one, there's a little spot right here where the paint continued to separate. So we can still see some light through here. And on this one, we got a couple of spots. One of the edges towards the top pulled away, and then another spot here. So we are gonna do a third coat, but just so you can see from the other side, everything is nice and smooth and black. So there is a little bit of dust on the glass, but as you can see, that wipes off. Everything else that you're seeing, these little specks, are holes of light. I can't really get it to focus, but you can probably see there's some spots. So we are gonna need to do a third coat. So now we can see the bottom of the first tank, and I am seeing absolutely no light coming through anywhere. I see no spots. There is some dust on the inside of this tank, which is all the specks and stuff that you're seeing on the glass. I apologize for the reflection as well, but there is no light whatsoever shining through. So I'm calling this one good. All right, so here's the second tank. So this one had a couple more spots that there was light showing through than the other one. I still see a couple. So this one I'm gonna hit one more time. There's one small spot right here, and the top edge is ever so slightly missing some. But the bottom edge, we're not missing anything, and the side edges are also okay. All right, so I laid this tank back down, and I got the one spot in the little edge. So that spot you can probably see is now gone, there's no light. And again, that top edge, there's no light coming through at all. So now we just gotta wait for this last coat to dry, and we're gonna call that good.
All right, so these are the finished frag tanks. I ended up doing 2 coats on the back and 3 on the bottom to have no holes in it, just to prevent any light from shining through, which will help keep the reflectivity down in the tank.
If you like our content, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications to join us on our journey through the sea.